Do you think that hi-fi was ever cool? I mean, it was
Yeah,
popular,
no.
but it was never. It's never been cool. Has it been cool?
I think it's been cool. Yeah, no, I think it's still cool to a certain extent. It all depends on your attitude towards it. It can be crazy uncool if you've got a little, man cave in the basement and you lock the door and don't let anyone come in, and or it can be unbelievably cool if you have people over and you're hanging out and you invite people to bring their records over,
Yeah.
and their turntable hasn't worked in 15 years, and they're practically in tears when they get to hear their records again, and everyone's hanging out and talking about music. That's crazy cool. I mean, that's cool now. It was cool 10 years ago. It was cool 35 years ago. The coolness in hi-fi, people are making a mistake. They want whatever they're doing to make them cool, and dude, if that's what you're trying to do, maybe it's too late. It's your attitude that makes whatever you're doing cool.
Yeah, I think I posed this exact question to another individual, and he said, if you're trying, you're not.
Yeah, if you're doing hi-fi to be cool,
Yeah.
then it's not cool.
Like the idea of a stereophile magazine, like on the table, like, oh, the people come up, I'm sophisticated. Does it still have the air of
You like the
sophistication?
Playboy magazine in the '60s, right?
Yeah,
Is that what you're talking
right.
about?
Well,
Yeah, you look at a
that's good
'60s
example
Playboy
now.
magazine, and their ads for reel-to-reel tape decks, and like cutting edge from the time, cutting edge hi-fi. Big Pioneer Silver Series racks with yeah.
Has the perception of high-end audio changed from that heyday that you were talking about? Has it faded? Is it different? Is it gone? Is it growing? I mean, when you guys hung out, these guys, people are buying stereos. It's like a thing. There's volume to it. It right now, as it stands, it's like getting, I feel like, more and more niche, and the niche is digging itself further out into the polarization of,
Right.
it's like it's getting farther out there in terms of.
There's something to that. I mean, I can't speak from experience about the '60s hi-fi or even '50s hi-fi, but certainly from what I've heard about it and looking at the evidence from magazine ads and things like that, that having a great hi-fi had a status to it. And I don't think it's not that having a hi-fi doesn't have status to it anymore, because it does. But I think just fewer people know about it. So you can, if you are going to somehow humble brag and drop the Patek Philippe watch, or brag about some vintage, some magnificent vintage Shelby GT 500 that you've got in the garage, and it's not running right now, but nobody's going to humble brag about their hi-fi because nobody knows about it. The reference isn't there anymore. That's the problem. I don't know if it's a smaller market or not. Yeah, I don't know, but I think that's the status part of it is gone because the knowledge of it is gone. But I don't know that there's fewer people who own it. The people who love it still love it, and they're spending the money, and the cost of gear is it's way more expensive now than it has ever been. So there's money spent on it for sure. I don't think it's as broadly known, but I think that's changing now. I think hi-fi, for various reasons, is starting to become more in the public light, and I think that actually goes back a bunch of years to the iPod. Before the iPod came out, people weren't listening to music. I mean, this is like sort of the only people who had MP3s or even knew what they were these, the pirate downloader guys who, I don't even remember the names of the apps, but, those illegal downloaders. So music, the hi-fi industry was kind of in a weird spot, and it seemed kind of dark and bleak. But when the iPod came out, even though it sounded like crap and everyone was just using the Apple earbuds and the massively lossy files, suddenly everyone had tons of music really fast. People got into music again. And so people would talk about it, and they would talk about music instead of talking about sitcoms, and maybe even share recommendations. And, that spread really fast. And the idea that music became front and center for something to do, and not just a background thing on the radio, or, if anything, anytime we can prevent somebody from turning on the TV for background noise and have them turn on the stereo for background noise, there's a chance that they're going to get caught by some song and sit down and give it a listen and then get drawn to another song and to another song and to another song. So just the fact that they got music front and center again, whatever it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I don't even know, a long time ago, is a huge thing. And I think the quality, the terrible quality of the earbuds maybe helped spawn the current the headphone craze. You know, maybe it was Beats. You know, I'm not saying anything about the sound quality of Beats, but the idea that people were seen with big headphones on their head, and it became a fashion statement and a known thing, and people were spending hundreds of dollars on their headphones. It sparked an entire industry of really high-end headphones. And so now you've got people who are questioning the quality of their earbuds, questioning the quality of MP3s. So you've got people looking now at the quality of the reproduction of music. I mean, all of that stuff helps the high-end audio industry. And I've seen it even years ago. People understand that MP3s are terrible. You know, even back when I was working in HiFi. So now we're talking 18 years ago, almost 20 years ago. People would come in and they would say, "Oh, I only listen to MP3s. You know, I know they're not good." So already the knowledge was there that there are different formats and some can be better than others. And those are all the seeds of customers, you know, future customers.